The following
Following.
Journey into comics.
Journey into
It's a
comics.
journey into
Was
comics
it Journey into comics?
Journey into comics.
Journey into Comics
Network.
production.
production.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's the Podfather Nate here. You are listening to the Journey into Comics Network Best of the Week Highlights Show. This has got highlights from all shows across the network this week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. And here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Journey into Comics.
Walk Among Us performed over the weekend, and we played this cool thing in Mulberry called Shakedown Fest. Now, at the Shakedown Fest, it was pretty nifty because we'd never played there before, and we really wanted to be a part of this event. And to finally get asked to be a part of this event this year was pretty huge. They also were like, hey, you can kind of pick when you want to play, and it was like, oh, that's cool. So we were like, maybe 8 o'clock is a cool spot. People will just be getting there. Now, what we didn't know was going to transpire, of course, on Friday, it decided to monsoon. So we're sitting there, and it's just pouring like crazy, and everything is going crazy with the rain on our drive down there and whatnot. And we're like, fuck, this is going to probably be like a maybe not so great turnout, you know? So luckily, actually, the turnout was fantastic. We got to play second. The sluts played first. They aren't actual sluts. They're all dudes. So, I mean, I guess dudes can be sluts. You know, anybody could be a slut, really, you know. And you could be a slut, too. But they played, and it was a cool set, you know, really get into their music. They play a lot of different weird styles. They go a little ska sometimes and some other stuff and whatnot. So we're sitting there, and it's almost time to go, and I'm like, I don't know how many mic inputs they have. So I'm like thinking about it, and I just realized you guys on the live feed can't even hear me talking. So now if you're joining the live feed, you can finally hear me speaking. You're probably like, Nate, we can't fucking hear you. What's going on? Well, I fixed it now. I totally forgot to turn my audio on that part. So if you're watching on the live stream, you're probably wondering why I'm not talking, but now I'm talking, so hopefully you're enjoying it. So anyways, Walk Among Us is about to perform, and I'm like, hey, I think 1, 2, 3... I don't think there's very many mic inputs. Like, there's only 4. So we need at least 5, you know? And I was like, holy shit, like, hopefully this can work, you know? So we get up on stage, we start, like, putting shit together and getting our stuff up there. And it's definitely only 4-channel board. We need 5 channels because there's 3 vocals and the 2 direct boxes for Sarah and Veronica's pianos. So I'm like, oh fuck, like I'm probably not gonna sing tonight, whatever, you know, like it's fine. I'm not even upset about it. So we get set up, we get our levels set, and it's go time, and we get going, we get into our set. It was a lot of fun. We opened with Where Eagles Dare. That's one of my favorites to play. It's just really energetic, kicks the door down screaming that I ain't no goddamn son of a bitch, which is true. We are not goddamn sons of bitches. So yeah, the set was a lot of fun, and it was cool to interact with all the different people and whatnot. And the environment there was just so relaxed. It was very like, hey, you're an artist. We're an artist too. Like, let's enjoy it and, you know, enjoy it together, as it were. So anyways, we get done with the show, and we load out. Another band's going to load in. And we're slowly tearing down, and we're talking to people, and I look... Yet again, live streamers, here you go. It's proof in the pudding. I don't know if you can see it very well, but that's the Band-Aid because I blew another hole. There's the hole from last week. Can you fucking see it? Live stream? I don't think they can see it. I have this weird light, and I'm just trying to like get an early live stream set up. I don't even know if this is going to be something I do more than once, folks. So if you're enjoying the live stream, somewhere down below, be like, hey, I really fucking enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun to listen to. And podcast people, if you're listening and you enjoy the podcast today, let me know, because this is a totally different thing. Like, I'm kind of in 2 worlds here. I'm live streaming in front of me. I'm recording behind me. I'm in my kitchen, my nice new kitchen with the cool setup and stuff. So anyways, you know, we get done playing. People are talking to us, and it was really cool. And it was really nice to hear all the cool comments, and it's always very humbling. I got to talk with Dick and Miranda. It was cool to talk to Dick. He was actually, and that's rewind to Thursday, because I'll be able to tell this before he will, actually. So Thursday, going backwards in time, I'm sitting at the house, Or no, it was Wednesday. It was Wednesday. See, I have time travel even further. So last Wednesday, right? We are sitting at the house, and I get a text from Dick, and he's like, "Hey, man, I might come stay with at your place tonight because I'm gonna go see this show up in the city, and it's probably gonna get late. And I've been up for work since 5 a.m., which is 4 a.m. our time." And he's like, "I don't want to die. I would rather live and sleep on your couch than die." I was like, I totally appreciate that. So yes, anytime that Dick needs a place to stay, or any of the people that I closely work with, I'm always like, you definitely, no questions asked, have a place to stay. So he's like, I'll let you know. It depending on if Nick shows up or gets to go to the show or whatever. So I don't really know the ins and outs of all that, but Dick ends up texting me. He's like, "Hey, I'm definitely staying over tonight. I'll be seeing you guys later. I'll text you when I'm on my way." Cool. So we're sitting around, hanging out and whatnot, watching Thor: The Dark World and Iron Man 3. And we had ordered some Domino's and went and got Domino's and came back. And we're watching the movies and whatnot. Dick texts us, "Hey, I'm on my way." All right, cool. So I'm anticipating his arrival at some point in the very near future. And he texts me again. He's like, "Hey, man, I'm on my way, but I need motherfucking Domino's." I was like, "Cool, man, stop by the Domino's. It's like right down the street from my place. Get yourself some food and then come back. It's cool." So he texts me, or not, never mind, and a picture, because apparently Domino's was closed. Well, the carryout was closed, right? So he interacts with some dude who's like, "Yeah, man, our carryout's closed, but our delivery's good till midnight." So I text Dick. I'm like, "Dude, here's my address. Just have the fucking pizza delivered to my address. Come here now." And he did, and it was great. And we kind of all were like, "Man, I wonder, like, shit, dude, he could have just like had it delivered to the McDonald's next door and literally got his pizza in like 8.5 minutes. You know, like, "Hey, I'm in the McDonald's parking lot next door. Can you just deliver this to my car? Like, I'm at an address," you know? I mean, they do the fucking hotspot now, right, Domino's? So anyways, Dick came over, and he was here, and we ended up talking for like 6 fucking hours. It was an amazing conversation. It was kind of sad that it wasn't a podcast, but at the same time, I love that there are these cool little conversations that get had in between the shows, in between the lines, that you guys don't get to hear and experience. And those are, you know, moments that are near and dear to my heart. Dick and I got to talk and reminisce and discuss all the stuff that had been going on as of late in life. And it was, you know, it was good to just chat with him. It really was. It was nothing but great conversation about all kinds of different things. So Dick stayed, and then the next day he got up and I got up, and then we went in the kitchen where I'm sitting now, and he's sitting like right there next to me, and we recorded a little miniature podcast that you guys are going to be hearing in the near future. I'm not going to spoil that announcement. And it was a great thing. He's like, "Let's do 15 minutes. And I was like, "Okay, cool. 15 minutes. Good. Great. Glad." We definitely went 45 fucking minutes because we like to talk, you know? So ultimately, Dick had to go home. And then it's like my brain starts ticking for the show and everything else to come. We had some network drama that happened. It wasn't really drama. I guess that's a poor word, but I feel like it's drama because it's like, oh, that shitty thing happened, like, but we keep moving on because it's not the end of the world. It's not a dramatic moment when stuff like this happens, and it's kind of cool to be able to like give you guys some of the network behind the scenes here now on the live stream, as well as those of you who are listening at home. So ultimately, Thursday rolls around. I text Chris Plant. I'm like, "Hey, bud, kids for sale. You guys got it?" And he's like, "I don't have it. Travesty has hit. Our computer crashed midway through our podcast, and Ashley has to go to bed. What do you want me to do?" And I was like, "Well, first of all, I'm so sorry, you know, that happened. It's a fucking terrible thing to lose a podcast at all. You know, you get into a really nice flow in a conversation, and you're feeling something very special, and then boom, something stupid happens. The record button doesn't whatever, and blah, blah, blah." So Chris is just like, you know, like, "I don't know what to do, man." And I was like, "Here, just first of all, take a deep breath. It's all going to be okay. Like, this is not the end of the world. I know we do release shows at midnight on the button, typically speaking, on the network, but sometimes stuff happens, and if it has to go up late, as long as it hits on the same day, we don't really care, you know? It's like things happen. So Chris is like a hero, and he pulls a classic Nate or AP, as it were, and goes solo mode. And did a really cool podcast. Episode 8 of Kids for Sale was called Quality Time with Dad. So and he was finding himself and learning the weirdness of just talking essentially to yourself. But I feel like right now I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to you, the viewer now watching the live stream, or those of you who are listening at home, as I keep saying, because I'm just making sure to interact with all the audiences that may be on here. And it's like, I haven't even checked the live stream over here. We've got a couple people watching. So thank you guys for checking us out. That's really groovy. So back to it. Let's go into... So Thursday that happened, and then Friday we did the show. We had to drive back, and it was arduous. And the three of us in the truck, it's just so fucking tightly packed. And, it's like we love each other. We're all best friends, but sometimes essentially sitting crunched up against each other for 2 hours in a truck is not the best way to spend our time together. So it does get a little time to time heated and whatnot, and it is frustrating because it definitely creates unnecessary tension sometimes. So we're looking to remedy the situation with our vehicle right now and get something better for Walk Among Us. But you guys aren't here just for Walk Among Us talk. We're not going to just talk among you today. We've actually got some pretty cool stuff for you. And now let me tell you, today I've got something planned, maybe a little bit different. I hope you guys who are watching on the live stream, I hope this comes through as I'm planning it to anyways. I've got this new thing that Dick set me up with called Streamlabs, and I've kind of got this set up planned so that I can not only talk about the things that I wanted to talk about today, which is a lot of Captain Marvel news and some other stuff, and not the whole show is not going to be like this, but and we might not actually even start there. I just wanted to make you guys who are on the live stream aware that there's going to be some neat stuff, because while I'm talking about whatever the fuck it is that I am reviewing or looking at or dissecting for the first time, I'm going to definitely be putting them up on the screen. So if you're watching it, you're going to actually get to see what the fuck I'm talking about and go, oh, that's really radical and really cool. Speaking of radical and cool, here's something neat. Apparently, Kevin Smith said Journey into Comics on his podcast this week, so we'll see what that's about. AP is supposed to be hitting me back with some audio evidence of that. Maybe we'll turn that into an interesting little bumper. Who knows? I don't know. It depends on how cool it sounds and what exactly was said. Maybe he referenced our show. I don't know. I feel like that's so far away that I feel like I can cheat this a little bit, and I can tell you guys the story here and then double back and tell you again when you're listening to Journey into Wrestling next Sunday, because that's an announcement starting next Sunday. It would be 2 Sundays from when I'm recording this, technically speaking. So the 23rd, Journey into Wrestling will drop on the 23rd, and that is going to be an official shift, okay, for Journey into Wrestling. We're moving that show to Sunday because Foodies Watching Movies is coming back, and we got to keep our fucking Foodies Watching Movies Wednesdays, man. So it'll be Foodies Watching Movies in tandem with Adulting Ain't Easy as they finish out their first season here. They've only got a few months left to go, so it'll be really exciting to see whatever they bring to the fold. So ultimately, everything's been cool with the network and the change, but there's some really neat stuff that happened. So I made this design for All In too, because All In was this wrestling event that happened, and it was like, oh, so fucking amazing, right? The first independent wrestling promotion to sell out a 10,000-seat arena, and they did it in like 29 minutes and 34 seconds or some shit like that, right? And here's the crazy thing about that is that they said they were going to do it, and they did it with the power that they have, and they don't have the WWE backing them, right? So I really extra champion these guys because they're like very much like me. I don't have anybody, that's on my side. I'm not the Nerdist. I'm fucking Nate Phillips. That's as far as it goes.
You're listening to Poor Entertainment with your host, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Andrew Poor.
Mark Ruffalo and his role in Avengers 4. So Mark confirms the real reason Hulk wouldn't come out in Infinity War. For those of you who did see Infinity War, which it made billions of dollars, so I'm sure some of you saw it. So Avengers star Mark Ruffalo has spoken further about why Bruce Banner couldn't become a Hulk in Infinity War. The actor revealed that the plot point actually dates right back to a discussion he had with Joss Whedon when filming Avengers Age of Ultron, and it's the fact that Hulk actively fears Banner. We went back and forth a lot on how to end the movie with Banner, and do we repeat the Hulk coming at the last minute, or we try something new, he told the Marvelist podcast. And I think at this point we're all thirsting to have Banner be his own hero for once, he added. There's a conflict brewing between Banner and the Hulk that's going on since the beginning, and it all came out to the question that Joss Whedon asked me when Hulk gets the fairy dust from Scarlet Witch sprinkled on him in Avengers 2. Joss asked, what is the Hulk afraid of? And those are hard things for me to answer, because what's the strongest, fiercest thing in the universe afraid of? What could he possibly? And then I realized it's Banner. The only thing Hulk is afraid of is Banner. And so that became something we've been riffing on since Avengers 2. We played a lot with it in Thor Ragnarok and continue to be teased out in Infinity War 1 and Infinity War 2. An interesting teaser at the end, there is an issue that will continue to be prominent in as of yet untitled Avengers 4 due out next year. In the same interview, Ruffalo also answered a question about the future of the character in the next movie. I can't really talk about it what I want because I have had so much a hand in where it's going, my own little hand, he admitted. But I will say that I want to see this Banner versus Hulk conflict carried out and see where that takes us and can they come to terms with it. Do they get a moment? Oh, I always thought it would be great to see them in some sort of subspace where they had to battle out with Banner's brains as some sort of his own superpower, like psych weaponry against Hulk's brute strength, and have these two characters battle it out. I always thought that would be the ultimate comic book ending or something, opening to these characters. Avengers 4 is complete some additional scenes this autumn after initially wrapping last year. The movie will be preceded by the 1990 set Captain Marvel movie, fronted by Brie Larson, that comes out in March. So, yeah, there's a little bit more tidbits for those of you who really like the Avengers series, and I'm one of them, so that's always fun. And there's just a little bit more to talk about here, and that one of those involves a band that most of you know, and that is Paramore. And they actually announced that they will no longer play Misery Business live in concert. For those of you who don't really know, I think Misery Business is probably their most well-known and popular song. They played at every show. It's kind of like their big closing number. I saw them in concert a couple years back, and yeah, definitely it was a song that everyone knew the words to. Everyone stood up, and yeah, the big to-do about the song. So it became the end of an era. So when Paramore performed at the Nashville Municipal Auditorium Friday, frontwoman Hayley Williams announced that the band would be playing its earliest hit, Misery Business, for the final time. Tonight we're playing the song for the last time for a really long time. The choice that we have made because we feel that we should. We feel like it's time to move away from it for a little while, she said, appearing slightly nervous. This is happening, we're going to play it. Before launching into the song, Williams said, this is to every bad decision that led us here. This is to all the embarrassing things we might have said, but we owned up to it and we grew. Over time, the band has received criticism for this particular lyric. Second chances, they don't even matter, and people never change. Once a whore, you're nothing more. I'm sorry, that will never change. In 2015, Williams distanced herself from the song on Tumblr. Misery Business is not a set of lyrics that I relate to as a 26-year-old woman. I haven't related to it in a very long time. These words were written when I was 17, admittedly from a very narrow-minded perspective. It wasn't really meant to be a big philosophical statement about anything, she wrote. It was quite literally a page in my diary about a single moment I experienced as a high schooler. Williams did not sing the offending lyrics on the last night of the band's After Laughter tour. Last year, in celebration of its 10th anniversary of the band's hit album Riot, Williams addressed the backlash to the song. The thing that annoyed me was that I'd already done so much soul-searching about it years before anyone else had decided that there was an issue. When the article began circulating, I sort of had to go and rehash everything in front of everybody. It was important, however, for me to show humility in that moment, she told Track 7. I was a 7-year-old kid when I wrote the lyrics in question, and it can somehow exemplify what it means to grow up, get information, and become any shade of woke. Then that's A-okay with me. The problem with the lyrics is not that I had an issue with someone I went to school with. That's just high school and friendships and breakups. It's the way I tried to call out her using words that didn't belong in the conversation. It's the fact that the story was set up inside the context of a competition that didn't exist over some fantasy romance, Williams said, adding, what I couldn't have known at the time was that I was feeding into a lie that I'd bought into. Just like so many other teenagers and many adults before me. The whole, it's not like the other girls thing. That's cool girl religion. What even is that? Who are the gatekeepers of cool anyway? Are they all mean? Are they women that we've put on top of unreachable pedestal? As she previously explained on Tumblr, she's not ashamed of the lyric, and as Williams later told Track 7, for whatever reason I believed it was supposed to have written those backward words and I was supposed to learn something from them years later. Be more compassionate towards other women who may have social anxieties and towards younger girls who are at the very moment learning to cope, to relate, and to connect. We're all just trying our damnedest, and it's a lot easier when we have support and community with each other. Williams added, vulnerability helps lay the foundation for all that. They had a lot of good statements tonight on the poor entertainment. And now kind of going into everyone's favorite form of entertainment, whether you think it's entertainment or not, and that is football. Now, I know some of you are like, during the Comics Network, sports, what are you doing here? So, football season started a couple days ago. They've been playing preseason games for a bit, but this past Thursday night, kicked off football season for a lot of people. And for those of you who play fantasy football like myself, it involves drafting and picking a lineup and getting everything ready to those matchups that you have on the weekends. And for those of you, some of your high hopes of players you picked got dashed when they either got injured or they didn't do as well as you'd hoped, or if you didn't have Tom Brady or Mike Evans or whatever in your lineup, you kind of just screwed from there. So I'm going to go over some key takeaways from the opening Sunday in the NFL. So this is from the Washington Post, and that is 6 big takeaways from a thrilling opening Sunday in the NFL. So Aaron Rodgers exited the field on a cart, and when he returned, he could bear weight only on his right knee. But that was not a problem for him. Rodgers is not bound by the same physical restrictions as the rest of the team. He can control an NFL game with glancing eyes and shuffling feet. He hits his passes half the length of the football field with a liquescent snap of his right wrist when he uses a second leg when he can levitate. Rodgers hovered over the start of the NFL season Sunday night, first with a disquieting sight of his grabbing his left knee and hitching a ride into the tunnel, and then with a debatable return, finally with pure magic. Rodgers led the Green Bay Packers back from a 20-0 deficit in the third quarter while hobbling. He threw for 273 yards and 3 touchdowns on one leg in the second half, completing the comeback in a 24-23 victory of the Chicago Bears when Randall Cobb snared one of his darts and zoomed 75 yards for a touchdown. I just had a feeling, Rodgers said after the game in his on-field interview with NBC, it was not universally shared when Rodgers emerged for the second. His presence seemed like an unnecessary risk. The Bears dominated the first half, with Khalil Mack leading a ferocious pass rush mere days after he dropped from the sky into their fortunate hands. Rodgers' preservation felt far more important than whatever might have happened Sunday night. Last year, the NFL was diminished when he missed half the season with a separated shoulder. Playing on a bum knee with Mack and the rest of the Bears on rushing, Rodgers invited the possibility it could happen again. But by playing, Rodgers offered a reminder of what it would have been so terribly to see him get injured again. No player is more exhilarating than the touchdown throw he made to Geronimo Allison. The most important pass to Green Bay's comeback was a marvel. Rodgers stood on the left hash mark, calm in a chaotic pocket, tottering left and right, just enough to keep Chicago's rush off balance. With only his back leg to support, his arm launched a rocket. The pass traveled 50 yards to the field, about 30 across, landing softly in Allison's arms in the middle of the end zone. That one throw brought the Packers back. Rodgers completed the comeback with a short pass, but one that still revealed his brilliance. Even without being able to move fast, Rodgers could manipulate Chicago's defense with subtle glances and shifts in his balance. He skipped to right, then back to his left, scanning the field until he flipped the ball to Cobb over the middle. One safety had vacated the middle of the field, and the other, Eddie Jackson, had been enticed to step up in front of Cobb when Jackson's lunge missed the ball. Cobb turned away and saw only green. Let it be said the Bears blew it. They led 20-0, and then their offense grinded to a halt. A more granular level, they had concrete chances to seal what would have been a statement. With just less than 3 minutes left, the Packers had exhausted all of their timeouts, and the Bears faced 3rd and 1 inside Green Bay's 20. The first down, the Chicago could just melt the game away. 1 yard is all it needed. The Bears couldn't do it. Mitchell Trubisky dropped back to pass and found nobody open. Rodgers also received a bail at his first pass of the winning drive 2 plays before the strike to Cobb, sailed directly at cornerback Kyle Fuller. The ball hit Fuller in the stomach, a victory in his grasp, and somehow he still dropped it. Rodgers had an opening, and that's all he needed. Rodgers may not be the best quarterback of his era, but he's arguably the most singular, possession of the most athletic genius of any of them. Rodgers had completed multiple Hail Mary passes. His sheer talent for throwing the ball is unsurpassed Sunday night. It was sickening to watch him leave the field and a little scary to watch him come back. And then reminded everyone why we watch at all. Definitely written by someone who's a Packers fan, but I did see bits and pieces of that game, and I kept up with it through the NFL and ESPN app. It was kind of impressive they did come back and do all that, but as a Bears fan, I'm kind of like, they should have won. It was looking so good for half the game. Like, this is New Year. Picking up Khalil Mack definitely is something that I think people need to be afraid of for the rest of the games this season. I think he's going to be a force in the defense. And yeah, we'll have to see what comes that. If there's any residual injury from that. It would have been really unfortunate if on the first game out, if like Rodgers broke his leg and was out for weeks while it was recouped, or if he did something else to himself. But as a Bears fan, that might have been the worst thing ever. But moving on from that to a couple of the big news, and that there's a lot more text heavy than I thought there were going to be. Well, I guess maybe it's just that one. So I'll run through it really quick. So Ryan Fitzpatrick had a phenomenal game for the Bucs, and Jameis Winston may be done as the team's quarterback. Since the St. Louis Rams drafted Ryan Fitzpatrick in the 7th round of wait a second, let's double check the fact. Harvard. He had enjoyed and endured the strangest quarterback odyssey of his generation. He had started 120 games. He had won 48 of those. He had thrown 136 interceptions, 173 touchdowns, and averaged 6.7 yards per attempt, which are pitfall statistics. He also made more than $58 million, which is an inevitable total. He also never appeared in the playoffs. He's on his 7th team. A beard colonized his face a few years back, and he can't get rid of it. It's a lot to fit into 13 years. Sunday experienced his very best day of those 13 years. Fitzpatrick found himself starting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the same reason he found himself starting at any other juncture. Something happened to the regular starting quarterback. Jameis Winston was beginning his 3-game suspension under the NFL's personal conduct policy for allegedly groping an Uber driver. Weird. Fitzpatrick's presence was one reason Tampa Bay was the biggest underdog of the week in Vegas, getting 9.5 points from the Saints playing in New Orleans. Then Fitzpatrick did that. He started with a bomb to Deshaun Jackson and didn't stop heaving. He passed for 417 yards and 4 touchdowns while rushing for 36 yards, another score. He outdueled Drew Brees in New Orleans, and Tampa Bay won 48-40, spoiling the opening week and 1 million survivor pool entries for a popular Super Bowl pick. The one thing Fitzpatrick has always been able to do is wing the ball downfield without fear and with adequate accuracy. There's a perfect attribute for a quarterback who can throw it at Jackson and Mike Evans. As the Saints' poor secondary enabled him to show, Fitzpatrick was a great fit with Tampa receivers. And that means Winston, the number 1 pick of the 2015 draft, may be done as a starter in Tampa Bay. Given Winston's unsteady performance and erratic off-field behavior, the Bucs have little incentive to anoint him the starter once his suspension ends if Fitzpatrick plays anywhere near like he did Sunday over the next 2 weeks. Fitzpatrick may be the best quarterback in Tampa, and that may be the strangest twist yet in his career. And moving on, Buffalo looked like it has no playoff shot and blowout loss to Ravens. What are the Bills doing? They traded Tyrod Taylor in the offseason, dealt A.J. McCarron late in training camp, and benched first-round pick Josh Allen for the purpose of handling their quarterback job to Nathan Peterman. Sorry. They seemed bizarre before Sunday. Peterman chucked 5 interceptions and 1/2 in his debut last year before coach Sean McDermott benched Taylor for him in the middle of an impromptu playoff run. The entire world realized Peterman was not cut out for starting in the NFL, and the Bills remained unconvinced. After Sunday, the choice just seems dumb. In 47-3 drubbing in Baltimore, Peterman completed 5 of 18 attempts for 24 yards and 2 picks. In baseball terms, Peterman is the career minor league reliever who gets a cup of coffee in some desperate moment, gives up 3 earned runs without getting an out, and retires with an ERA of infinity. So the Bills made him their Week 1 starter. Remarkably, McDermott said he'd have to watch the film to get the full evaluation of Peterman's performance. By the end of the season, it will seem impossible that the Bills made the playoffs last season. It's possible the Bengals have the best team in the AFC North. As Week 1's overreactions go, this one feels reasonable. The Ravens were impressive, but that was against the Bills at home. The Steelers tied the Browns. The Browns are the Browns. The Bengals beat the Colts in Indianapolis with a healthy Andrew Luck. The way they played is what makes the Bengals worthy of consideration. With second-year speedster John Ross healthy and the development of Tyler Boyd, the Bengals have one of the deepest stables of skill positions in the league. A.J. Green, Joe Mixon, Tyler Eifert, Ross Boyd, that's a crew that can carry Andy Dalton, and Cincinnati's defense line, starring Geno Atkins, is scary. The Bengals are a playoff threat. And Joe Mixon definitely brought me big points in my fantasy league, so good for him. It may be a big year for rookie defense backs. San Diego safety Derwin James, a ridiculous versatile player at Florida State, who slipped in the draft after an injury spoiled his final college season, broke up a touchdown pass and record of sack on consecutive plays. Mike Hughes, a first-round corner, scored on a pick 6 from Minnesota. Denzel Ward, the 4th overall pick, intercepted Ben Roethlisberger and kept up with Antonio Brown as well as possible. This doesn't count for Green Bay's Josh Jackson, who had a tremendous preseason, the best among any rookie defender, according to Pro Football Focus. The NFC South may not be as good as we thought. The Saints' defense headlined a rough week in the NFC South, which looked like it was the toughest division in the NFL heading into the season. The Falcons laid an egg Thursday night, offering a repeat of their debilitating red zone issues from last season. The Panthers beat the Cowboys 16-8, but their offense was slowed down in Caliska under new offensive coordinator Norv Turner. Tight end Greg Olsen, besieged by foot injuries for the better part of the past 2 seasons, suffered another Sunday and watched the end of the game on the sideline wearing a walking boot.
Bye 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 or something by NSYNC. Like, there's no way I would just like pop up and be like, oh yeah, this is my jam. Like, no.
No, well, no. I didn't want to dance that. Like, but there was other songs.
Like what? Name one.
Cha Cha Slide.
I don't like the Cha Cha Slide. No.
But like, there was. I don't know.
That was the only line dancing song. If they would have done the Cupid Shuffle, that's more modern. Like, Cha Cha Slide is like, I'm so done with it.
Liz just is a little particular when it comes to dancing music.
I just can't dance. I'm a shoulder dancer, and that's so embarrassing.
Well, I told Liz she doesn't have no excuse. She has to dance the whole time at her wedding.
Yeah, I'm going to stand there.
I'm going to dance around you.
Yeah.
Lovely. I'll just drink a lot. It'll be fine.
No, you can't be too drunk.
I do what I want.
Alright.
No, but...
Whatever.
Yeah, so... But it was fine, and then Sunday we got to spend the whole day in D.C. We didn't have to worry about...
Which was also freaking hot.
Oh yeah, it was awful. Like, it was hot, it was packed, there was a lot of different people, a lot of different languages to kind of deal with, but we managed to see...
That makes you sound really insensitive. There's a lot of people in a lot of languages.
Well, like it wasn't bad. Like, it was just... But there's a lot of different languages I heard in one day. Mm-hmm. Like, it was fine, but it was just like a lot, like...
Very diverse.
It was a very diverse
definitely
set of tourists.
Definitely more diverse than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be a lot of, like, a lot of families that are, like, American families. Like, oh, we're going to go and, like, visit our national capital. Well, not exactly. I feel like there were a lot of people from different countries that decided to come as well.
Right.
Which, I guess it makes sense. Like, if you're going to be coming from a foreign country to visit America, why not go to D.C.? But,
right.
I mean, there's other places I would probably want to go that are a little more exciting. But, I mean, D.C. was fun, and it's good. I feel like every true-blooded American should go there and see the sights. And
yeah, I think that...
I would like to go back, which I did not think I would be saying. I thought... I would be like my father and be like, alright, I saw what I needed to see and now I'm going to go. Now I don't have to come back ever again.
We just got to go wait in line for the Natural History Museum.
Oh my god, no. That was such a long line and I'm not... For my first time being in DC, I did not want to sit in line and wait. As much as I would have loved to see the Hope Diamond and all the fancy stuff that they have at the Natural History Museum and Air and Space and whatever... Those freaking lines were just so long, and I did not want to miss out on other things because I wanted to go see a couple exhibits.
Really, we should just go to the Field Museum if we really want to see stuff like that.
True.
But
the Field Museum is just lovely.
Yes, in Chicago, which, if you're not from around there, definitely check it out next time you're in the area. Definitely worth seeing at least once. But yes, so we went to the much shorter line that was also just as exciting, which was the line for the American History Museum. Or Museum of American History.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. We got to see a ton of different stuff.
Yeah.
I really liked... I think it's a newer exhibit where they had all the first ladies, like, dresses. Like, different ones. I think it was mostly, like, their inauguration night. And they had all the pretty dresses. And it was cool.
And they... Yeah, I found that pretty neat. I also liked their... They had the one about, like, the voting and election. So they had a bunch of... campaign stuff and all the stuff for voting and things that people had. So there's signs and buttons and flyers and stuff.
Some of them were very weird. Like there was like that. I feel like there were like maybe like stuffed people dolls of certain people. And it was very creepy. Like I think there was one that was like Teddy Roosevelt's was really weird, and I was just like I would.
There was the cigar and. Mm-hmm. But like and it's updated regularly. Like they had stuff from the 2016 election with Clinton and Trump, so they definitely keep that stuff updated. Like the same thing with the First Lady thing. Like Melania Trump's her inauguration dress was on display there, and they had videos of them dancing and her wearing it and stuff like that. So definitely interesting to see how quick the Smithsonian's able to update with recent changes in the world, or with the U.S. politics.
The only thing that I was kind of sad that we didn't get to see, but I guess it makes sense, is that they're still working on their entertainment section of the American History Museum, because, what was it, a couple years ago that you donated in your mom's name to the restoration of the ruby slippers from Wizard of Oz, because Andrew's mom is like obsessed.
Yeah, she's a big fan of the Wizard of Oz and everything. And yeah, I saw they were doing was it a GoFundMe? I think it was a GoFundMe so you could donate like X amount of dollars, and they'll you can get some stuff, and like if you donate like a ton of money, you get like your name on the exhibit once it was completed. But like I had to see but now since I've done it, I get a lot of emails and stuff about how the restoration work is going, and so it's kind of neat to see how much they're learning about these ruby slippers that they do deep analysis on. But while
Did you also say that they found a second pair of ruby slippers?
Yeah, that was recent news in the last couple weeks. So there was another museum somewhere around the Midwest, actually, I think. Maybe could even have been in Kansas. I don't know. But there was a museum that had a set of ruby slippers on display that were like on loan from someone who bought them years ago, someone who paid a lot of money, and they got stolen and then have been disappeared for the last like 13 years. Then they just turned up by the FBI, and the FBI took them to the people at the Smithsonian, since they've been working on those shoes for all this time and know every little detail just to make sure they're not fake. And actually they learned some interesting stuff about them. They actually learned that the pair of ruby slippers that are at the Smithsonian now are not two of the same shoe. Like, you wouldn't wear those two shoes together. They're two ruby slippers that were used in the film, but they're not matching pairs. But they found those two shoes that they found from the other museum thing are the matching pairs. Like, if you broke those up and switched them, those would be the matching sets. Like, I think they said like they're like 2C and 2BA or something, or whatever, however their numbering system was. But they had one of one and one left and one right of two different sets of shoes that were used in the film. So now they do have two matching sets, which is kind of interesting. I'd never noticed that before. But that was a neat little part of that exhibit, and it was nice that we were inside, got to see a lot of stuff, and enjoyed the air conditioning.
That was the only place that had, well, besides all the restaurants we went into, but...
And the gift shops at the monuments. The gift shops and the bathrooms. Also learned that I didn't really know this, is that every monument has kind of an inner exhibit that has, like, stuff about the exhibit and random articles like
the monument, you mean?
Yeah, the monument. They have, like, little, like, in the Lincoln Memorial, and it's all usually right by the bathroom, because I think all these exhibits at one point had to, like, redo their bathrooms because they didn't plan for the amount of people coming to them. So usually in the basements or in the weird side room of the monument, there's the bathrooms, and then there's like a miniature exhibit which has like stuff about how they made it, pictures. So they talk about like the Lincoln Memorial. Once you're in the base there, you can see kind of how the sculptor used like Lincoln's life mask and death mask and pictures and stuff to kind of sculpt the head, and what they used for the rest of the memorial, and how they had a bunch of different designs they wanted to use to kind of cap off between DC and the Potomac and all that. And then same thing like the Jefferson Memorial and all that. So that was probably pretty neat to see, because I didn't realize that at the time, because I've only been to DC 2 other times, and when we did that, we didn't really do a ton of extra saying. We tried to see a lot in the time, and I really didn't remember it. So yeah, I feel like I'm just rambling, but it was a neat little thing. And I think probably the best part of our DC trip was, even though I was very stressed getting to that point, was probably our night tour that we did.
Yes, the Capitol. What did they call it? Was it DC on Foot? The
Capitol Hill Ghost Tour.
Capitol Hill Ghost Tour.
So we actually met on the grounds of the U.S. Capitol, like in the back. I never really was that close to it. Like in any trip I've ever been to DC, I've never been that close to the Capitol, and I've only been. This was my 3rd time in like 15 years. So But we actually were on the grounds right there, and we had this tour, and we got to go pretty close to it, and actually close enough you could see the armed guards. Like a
Because
security.
they've got quite a few security. Well, don't they call them Capitol Police, and then
They're Capitol Police, yeah.
And they're literally police that are specific to the Capitol building, and I think they had the same thing for the Library of Congress, that they're just for the Library of Congress, and same. I don't know about the Supreme Court building. They didn't say.
Yeah, there's Capitol Police, and then there's the DC Metro. So Capitol Police are strictly Capitol Hill related. They're on the grounds near the White House. They're the guy we saw when we were right in front of the White House who had the AK-47, the bulletproof vest, and would shoot anyone if you crossed this barrier.
Yeah, that freaked me out. I did not like that. That was probably the part of DC that I did not like, was that the fact that these guards were carrying around these huge guns that I've never seen in person before in my life.
But
that freaked me out. But I understand.
Right.
We live in a different age, and it's
right, and
more necessary.
It's like when we were talking to, was it your grandparents? How they were in DC, they could walk.
They literally they had daily tours at the White House. You didn't have to go through hoops and
you just walk up to
it. And and then the president would just walk out randomly and say hello. My grandparents got to meet JFK because they happened to be on a tour of the White House, and it was still acceptable for the president could be there while you were touring it,
right?
And so he just kind of walked out and said hi to the tour, and
and now we have to.
And now it's you have to jump through hoops to call your senator 6 months in advance to schedule maybe schedule a tour at the White House, depending on if things, if all the stars align and Mercury's not in retrograde, you can get in.
Yeah,
it's the same thing with the Capitol too. I mean, you have to jump through all those hoops to even go on the inside, and then there's certain parts of the Capitol that even congressmen and senators that have been there forever could not even get a tour of.
No one can go inside the dome of the Capitol. The big thing, the most picturesque part. I actually got some really cool pictures of it that I'll probably
on
throw
the
up
outside.
That I'll throw up on the socials. And you can get. There are daily tours of the Capitol Rotunda and stuff, but they book up fast. I should have planned ahead for that because, there was no chance of us getting in there because they do obviously do short tours regularly, and then there's also you can take the secret tunnel between the Capitol and the Library of Congress, which would have been fun to take, but that's But getting back to our tour, we kind of learned a lot of little things about the Capitol we didn't know about, things deep underground there, how there's a bunch of storage levels down on that, and how
lots of ghost stuff. There's a blood stain that's on the steps on the house side of the Capitol.
For the press area.
Yeah, there's this whole big story about.
But it was a little embellished because yes, there are blood stains on the steps, but the way it was told made it sound like there was a pool of blood stain on there, but it's actually just a few spots that could be
bigger. So they're if you think of this sounds really gross. If you think of someone getting literally shot in the chest and laying face down, or not face down, but back down, and you see the blood go seeping so fast. No, it literally looked like someone maybe had a really bad nosebleed on there, and that was kind of it.
They cut their arm outside. It didn't look that bad. It was just little. It was 4 random brown stains on the steps.
But apparently the ghost keeps it from getting cleaned away, because apparently they tried everything to get it.
But it's probably going. But that's one thing I liked about the tour guide. It was she put logic to it, and then the ghost and everything. It was logically it could be that just a very porous marble, and it's not going to come out. It's always going to be a hint of stain there. But we like to think it's ghosts. Mm-hmm. And learning about how that the black cat in the Capitol that predicts national tragedy.
Yeah.
This black omen cat, if you see it, cause I guess the whole story was...
No, it's a demon cat.
Demon cat. The Capitol was at one point overrun with mice because, any big wooden city, mice are going to infest it, or you're going to have a rodent problem. So they decided to bring in cats, and then after that, cats just kind of roamed DC for that. And I guess story was this one black cat that people see at night, and it usually comes within a few days of a national tragedy.
Well, and it's not just any cat. It literally according to some people, it's like it starts off like a normal cat, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it's like this monstrosity of like, I don't even know, like bigger than any big cat at a zoo or whatever, and it's just like.
And then it jumps at you. It sees you as a target, and then it disappears, and you don't see it, and then usually like a day or two later, some kind of natural tragedy. I think it predicted.
The only two things that it didn't predict, they said it was not around during 9/11 and something else, but it's been pretty consistent.
Yeah, like it predicted like the
through different.
Didn't say like it predicted like the 2008 stock market issue,
the
housing crash.
Yeah, the housing crash.
We're gonna fuck the sodomites in the.
Oh boy.
How about the pegging? Let's get that.
So back to masturbation.
Can we talk about rape again? Jesus.
At least with rape, we understood where I stand.
Ew.
You're raping me.
Touch his thigh.
I am not raping you.
You're ruining my life.
Oh my God! Do not. We are not.
You're
doing
stealing
this.
his innocence.
You just stole my innocence.
Good.
I didn't consent to that touch.
I want to put my head in your lap right
You're
now.
hurting my innocence.
I want to
his
blow
butt.
you live on podcast.
Go ahead, we'll get banned from Facebook.
All right.
But I hold power over you if you do.
Hey, give me that blanket. We're doing this.
Fucking just put the pillowcase on his head.
Just smother me. Someone get a belt too.
I got one. I'll take it off right now.
Hold me.
I'll beat you to death.
Spank me,
Grab
Daddy.
me by the throat when he's finishing in my mouth.
Did you just say spank me, daddy?
Spank me, Daddy.
Spank me, daddy.
So Alex, this is your first time on Podcast Shafi. What do you think so far?
What did you
I'm
expect?
never coming back.
A lot of screaming, but
You know, normally it's not entirely like
not
this.
this
This is-
intense.
I tune in all the time.
Okay, yeah,
you know that.
you do.
I promise.
Yeah, you do.
I mean,
Tyler
I usually
hasn't
don't watch the
masturbated
full
yet
thing,
today.
but
I normally what?
I said Tyler hasn't masturbated yet today. That's
I
why
have
he's
not
so
jacked
angry.
off. Well, I actually did jack off today.
That's why he's
No,
mad.
He's
backed up.
I'm not gonna get wrapped up in it again.
coming out of
but
his ears.
I fucking grew up in a home where, number one, I didn't have parents, and the parents that were supposed to be around were never around. And that has permanently fucked me up in the view of my world. I have a sister who was molested. I had to raise her during that time and see what she went through. That's why I have the view that I do on people that get molested. If you're a fucking child molester, you should get fucking hung in the street and then lit on fire so people know that they're going to be held accountable if they do. But I'm fucked. You're telling me that the way that I was fucked up is not as fucked up as the way that someone else was fucked up. You're telling me that the way that I was fucked up doesn't matter in the grand scheme. And that is fucking asinine.
Yeah, I have a point behind mine.
So do I.
I lived with a mom. I lived with a mother who was a mother of mother of two. My mom, me and my sister. My mom raised my aunt and my two uncles. Okay? And when my mom was a child, guess what? My mom was molested. Okay? By knowing and willingly, my grandma would invite her uncles over to fuck my mom.
Okay,
These
so
are the
we have
stories,
something in common.
These were the things that my mom told me. And these are things that I've swallowed over the years. This is why when I look at my daughters, I would swear to God, if someone laid a hand on one of my fucking kids, I would rather go to jail and have you fucking kill me through the judicial system for being wrong in the eyes of the public, but justify it in my heart. Because I watch what my mom is. My mom has been 38 years. 38 years my mother hasn't spoken to her own mom. I watched my mom talk to her mom last year for the first time. These are the words my mom said. Hi. My grandma said, hi. That was it. Those are the only two words those two exchanged. So I feel very heavily on the fact of pedophilia or molestation or any of that. I do not feel, I justify it in my eyes that you don't even deserve rehabilitation. Whether you send your dick to a 14-year-old girl, whether you send your dick to a 16-year-old girl, I don't care what the fucking state's laws are.
So we agree on that. We've moved on from that. We agree.
I understand where you're coming from. I was raised by a mother who I got lucky made it through that traumatic ass shit and had me and my sister still. Okay? And I grew up through a childhood when I was a kid. I am not kidding when I say this. If I had milk, bologna, and I had fucking macaroni and cheese or bread in the house, we were fucking doing good. If I had fish sticks, Dad won on a scratch off. Not to mean that jokingly. That's the truth. That's how I was raised. I had a sister. After my mom went through all that and still had us, my sister ended up getting cancer at 4 years old. Wiped my parents out completely. My mom and dad were 43 years old. 44 years old before they bought their second house. Their first house got lost because my dad worked so fucking much to cover my sister's medical bills. He worked 2 jobs.
So we have an identical childhood.
My mom would drive my dad to work in the morning, pick him up at night to drive him home so my dad could sleep in the car. My mom would feed him, and my dad would go back to work so he could work double shifts back and forth. That's how I was raised.
So the only thing different about our childhoods is you had parents around and I didn't.
No, I had a mother. Who was in college the entire time so she could get a better job so my dad didn't have to work too.
Yeah, I didn't have any parents to do that.
So I get it.
But I also had the same shit with my sister.
I get where you're coming from. But we need to move on from this.
Speaking of, we have comments. Mr. Clint Chase, former guest and possibly future guest, says, I raised 3 birds once in a nest. I mean, the mother did most of the work, but you still get the point.
No, get out of here.
What the fuck did I just turn back to?
Richard tried to
Rape
molest
him?
me.
I did not try to molest him. I tried to kiss him.
ruined his life.
I thought this was a bar. Everyone's drinking.
Clint also
There's beer
says...
here. I was really confused.
Clint also
Were
says,
you?
I came in at an awkward point. Slowly walks away.
We're just having a good conversation. I mean, that's...
It's fucked up. It's fucked up.
It's
traumatic
fucked-
past leave you with.
It fucks. It
But let me
fucks
ask
you
you a
up.
question. Let me ask you a question, honestly, and to just bring a roundabout to this, so we can stop here. Watching what my parents went through, and knowing what you and your family has gone through, tell me that it has not given you a better future. Because I know that my mom and dad, even though through the hard times they went through, eventually my parents got their shit together. Because I watch it. You have to understand. After my dad got done with my sister's leukemia, my dad became a drug addict. Straight up. Couldn't stay off the cocaine.
Right.
Couldn't stay off the marijuana. Couldn't stay off anything. My mom left my dad. But tell me that this does not make you a better dad than you ever could have been.
No, it does.
Okay, exactly.
Because I told myself when I was about 10 years old, I will never, ever put my family through what I've been put through. Ever. Never, ever. Not even close.
That's all. That's all I want to know. That's the same thing. Look what I do, dude. I work fucking 70, 80 something hours a week at
Right.
work. This is how I am.
Yeah, it's that futon. It'll get you.
Yeah.
It's the podcastrophe casting couch. It's dangerous.
If only you knew.
Is that what that smell is?
That's just
You forgot
Richard.
to clean up.
That's just
that's
Richard.
you. Okay.
It hasn't been used.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it smelled familiar.
Cheesecake does not smell good after a few days, okay?
Familiar.
Cheesecake
I
is
see what
nasty.
she did there.
Hey.
I was going to say something.
And you lost.
You're going to say a lot of things. Let's go on.
Richard, you have an Instagram now.
I do.
He's had an
saw
Instagram
your
for a while.
podcast.
A week.
No, he's had it for
Rolo the Destroyer.
like 6 months.
He's had it for a while. Like,
Did you see my recent post? Can you put it up there about
saw
me and my dad?
He sends me fucking videos and shit all the time, and I don't
Did
ever
you,
watch them.
Don't fuck you. Did you see the picture of me and my dad? That was my dad's idea.
No, I don't
Two
ever
horny
get on
guys
it.
at Walmart.
I don't ever get on
We had
fucking
unicorn.
Instagram. It's a shitty
hold
social
on,
media.
Hold on. So I'm at Walmart the other day. All right. And my mom and dad came into town, and my dad and my mom, they're fucking like, I love my parents, dude. They're fucking great. Like when they come to town or they come to see my kids or me and my wife, they spoil the shit out of us. Took us a Longhorn. Me and my dad joked because the lady goes, "Oh, what brings you a Longhorn?" And I was like, honestly, my dad won $500 on a scratch off, and we just wanted to feel fancy. And the lady goes, "Oh, that's great." My dad goes, "No, he's just kidding. He got out of prison yesterday." And that's the kind of relationship me and my dad
I
had.
have it. It says, This is the original comedian. I am so glad this man had sex with my mom.
You look very handsome.
And
in that picture.
he did have sex with my mom, and for
Yeah,
that
he did.
He did. He really
fucked the
did.
shit out of my mom. It was a cocaine high that night, and he was like, "I don't know if I'm gonna come." Yes, I am eventually. You know? Like, I love you, Dad. And you know, here's the thing. So my parents come to town, and I'm at Walmart with my mom and dad. This is the first fucked up thing that happens. I was literally going to get toothpaste because I needed toothpaste.
I know this story.
So this is true. This is true as the fucking day is
Oh,
long.
yeah, I know this one.
I walk into the fucking thing and I'm like, do I want Crest or do I want fucking Colgate? I turned to the lady.
I'm an Arm & Hammer guy
I
myself.
went to the lady. I said, hey, what do you prefer? The lady looks at me. She has no goddamn teeth, so I
And
know her
instantly
opinion
he had a boner.
It is
Oh my God.
unbiased at this point. All right? I'd go with the Colgate, and I'd be like, good thing they put you here. I see why you sell so much toothpaste.
You have no teeth, so I'm going to go with the other option.
I also have to tell you about, I got sexually molested at Walmart the other day.
By
That's another
her?
story. No, not her.
Oh.
An old lady.
Was this a woman on
February
a moped?
13th, that was your first Instagram post.
February 13th?
Yes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it took you this long to follow me?
No,
Oh
no,
my
no,
God.
no. February 13th, and I stopped for a while because I didn't want all the notification things. We talked about this at the beginning of the show.
Well, we've
I
ascertained
had
from
Your
this
1,084
fault.
that
Social media is
Rolo
so
doesn't
bad,
like
though.
you.
Anyway, my dad, I'm standing there. My mom and dad are getting ready to check out. My dad's standing there in a unicorn hat. He's got one of those face masks, you know?
He pokes
And
you
he's
with
like,
it?
get over here. Get over here. I need your mom and you to take a picture. So I get over there, and he's like, put this on. I put it on. My mom's like, she's like, takes a picture. And my dad's like, hey, hashtag that 2 horny guys at Walmart. And I go, hashtag? You have mom search the internet. You don't even have a smartphone. He goes, I know what hashtags are. And I was like, okay. so he sends this hashtag to my sister.
Oh my God.
He sends it to my sister, my grandma, and my wife. All at the same time. He's like, put everyone in it. Hashtag 2 horny guys at Walmart. And then my dad goes, hey, is that how hashtags work? I said, yes, it's a very good hashtag. So yeah, so if you look at my Instagram page and you see the 2 guys, the one guy in the Mac Tool shirt is clearly my father. The guy that's semi-attractive and the other one is me.
Oh, I figured that was your dad.
What's that? What is your what is your hashtag? What is your Instagram again?
Rolo the Destroyer.
That's underscore in between each letter,
Yes.
or in each word, right?
And the best part about my pic with him is his mask was all frumpy and looked old as shit, like an old unicorn. And mine was like fresh, like just came out the fucking, placenta.
Like Brad Pitt as a unicorn.
Oh god, Brad Pitt was a unicorn. You know what? I don't want
game do you have there?
Oh, I have Rage.
Just 2 horny guys at Walmart.
That's the other one. There was another one where my dad was holding a hat. I did not want to post that one. And it was a cat, a black cat. And my dad said, just looking for some black pussy tonight. So
You didn't want to post that.
I did need to post it, but I just don't want to seem racist. There was not enough cats in that box to make it seem ethnicity friendly.
Walmart has a lot of like full head masks.
Yes,
like,
weird
'cause
shit.
This is mine. Like me and
it T-Rex one?
Taya.
Yeah.
It was actually in my trunk up until yesterday when I wore it into the office, and now it's sitting in my office on like a tripod thing that my boss got, and he put like a shirt over it.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's my assistant. It's fine. Little T-Rex.
So yeah, if anybody wants to follow Richard
Please
on Instagram,
follow me.
And now you're going to get all the notifications.
Oh, I just said that. Damn it, that's my phone too.
Rolo underscore the underscore
Who brought the
destroyer. Rolo the Destroyer.
I just followed you. I was like, why not?
Dude, she did.
I
Oh
did.
my god.
I
We
know.
became friends.
Well, we already were friends on Facebook because you waved at me, so.
You waved at me twice
I'm
that
so
night.
glad the beginning of the show didn't get awkward. I have no
Filter? No filter.
I would like to mention something because I have an autistic nephew. So like I'm not against people with, like learning disabilities at all. Trust me. I'm just glad the beginning of the show kind of like made me a little bit nervous. Like I didn't smoke enough CBD oil before I got here. I don't know if you guys can tell because the arthritis is kicking in.
Sometimes I hate you. Just sometimes.
I always hate you.
Well, I wasn't sleepy when I showed up either. So it's like, dude, wait, I gotta bring up a topic. So I'm just glad that it went the right route.
Oh no,
And then-
like
I know.
I don't really get like
know,
offended.
I
I
know,
just
I know.
speak my opinion.
And I do, and I like that. That's
Thank
a good
you.
thing. That an opinion.
Thank you for being that way.
But
You're welcome.
I've
Because-
got to bring
I
something up.
try to speak my
Hold
opinion.
on,
All right, so
hold
what
on.
the
You
fuck
hate
is
it.
being offended at something accomplished?
It
like,
accomplishes
have
nothing.
a conversation about
It is
something.
you giving power to that other person.
Exactly, and I'm
to
not
con-
about to fucking do that.
Your head's way bigger than mine.
Tyler,
Oh, wow.
It just like sunk down over
Oh, wow.
your face.
I feel like Nate Phillips right now. My hat is
Yes!
my hat is
Precisely!
covering my hat is covering my eyebrows.
Tyler,
Daddy
Tyler.
knows.
Wait,
You!
I have got to bring something up that I really wanted to.
Hold on. Let Miranda
let's-
talk real
let's
quick.
finish
I want to talk.
Offended
Miranda
thing.
wants to say something.
Tyler, you are one of those people that makes you. So your opinion's a lot different than most people. You generally go with.
I am the unpopular
You
opinion
are.
Yeah,
guy.
for sure.
You are, and that's okay. I'm okay with people having their opinions, but you are one of those people that kind of make the other person who has the opposite opinion feel low, like they have the wrong opinion.
Good.
You are. But you just said it.
Be
It's
better. Okay, so
I love you, Tyler. I
Be a
can
better
argue with
person.
you.
be better. Like, okay, no, just
you-
listen.
no, no,
Let
no,
me
no, no,
finish.
no,
Let
I
me
was
finish.
talking
I will
first.
justify
Please
it.
let him finish.
Let her finish her
He
thought.
touches it better.
You
Let her finish her
just
thought.
said that. Why argue with somebody who has the opposite opinion?
I did
You
not
don't-
say that.
you-
I did not say any of
Basically,
that.
Why be
kind of.
offended by
Why
somebody?
be offended?
No. You don't
you're
be offended
offended.
about it.
You
You
are
should
offended.
argue everything.
Yeah, for sure.
And we do.
There is
God damn
nothing
it.
that you should not argue.
What's wrong with being childish? I like being childish.
Before I go, I just want to tell you you were fantastic. Never trust a hug. It's just a way to hide your face.
That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
Why are you pointing your screwdrivers like that? They're scientific instruments, not water pistols.
Gallifrey! Yes, this must be where I live.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Gallif Radio. It's episode 3. I am your host, Nate. Today, joining me, as always, my companions. Veronica, welcome back.
How's it going?
It's good. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. A little tired. Been a busy day.
A little wiped from the week.
Yeah, it's been a long week.
It's been the longest week, and I mean that because we're behind on this recording.
Yes, it has been a very long week. We apologize for
But
that.
it is still release day. We're still getting this out to you on Gallif Radio Friday. Also joining us today, welcome back, Miss Sarah. How are you?
I'm here.
Yeah, you are here. I'm glad you're here today. How's it going?
It's okay. I'm busy playing piano all the time.
You have the blue TARDIS cable on your mic.
Oh, on the mic.
It's
She's
it's
like looking
the
around.
I did. I looked at the floor.
It is the freshly repaired mic cable Dad just returned to us.
Oh,
So I just
well,
wanted
thanks,
to like
Jim
utilize it.
Phillips.
Yeah,
Shout
it's
out
his
to-
birthday.
Oh, that's right.
Hey, it is his birthday.
We said happy birthday first.
Yeah, we have to say
Happy
it.
birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. So, all right. Well, girls, we've got a lot of stuff to cover today. As I said, we are running a little bit behind, so we're going to manically get through this one today. It might
Sounds
be a little
good.
shorter.
Sounds good.
Right out of the gate, we've got a bunch of news. I want your guys' reaction to the news. There's a lot of stuff we're going to kind of get into here. First and foremost, we officially know when we're getting our first episode of Season 11 of Doctor Who, which means we also know how long we have to get you caught up.
Yeah.
And the total is we are literally looking at like 3 weeks from Sunday.
3 weeks?
Yeah, October 7th is the debut of
What?
Doctor Who Season 11. Mm-hmm.
Everything happens in October.
I know. October's the best. It's also happening on a different day, right?
Yeah, you heard that right. I said Sunday. I didn't say Saturday. So for the first time in New Who history, it's a Sunday release, which I think is going to give it some extra room to breathe. You know, they were competing with some other Saturday night primetime shows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this will give them room to really kind of take over the BBC on Sunday.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely. I mean, I don't know what the rating is like, viewership ratings are like over there. I just know that in the U.S., usually when there's a show that is airing on a Saturday, it's a show that nobody watches. you know, or like, you know how they call like the Friday night time slot, like the slot of death, because nobody's home on Friday and Saturday nights to watch these shows. So, I mean, all of the really good TV that I've watched over the years has always been on a Sunday. So it makes perfect sense for me for them to have this move.
So here's some numbers. This is from season 10 of Doctor Who. And these numbers are in the millions, so I'm just going to be breaking them down in smaller digits. I won't say million every time. Okay. So the pilot of the episode 10, or season 10, was 6.68. Then the next episode was a 5.98, then a 5.61, 5.73. So it's in the fives. It dips all the way down to 4.82 and like towards the end of the series, and then picks back up to 5.29 for the finale. So,
well, yeah, the finales always get larger viewings.
So
it just seemed like ratings have been declining.
Yeah, and it seems like if they can increase those numbers from the 5 million to that upper 6 million, like you know, that first episode of this season, they were almost at a 7 easily. 7 million viewers, but they didn't quite hit it.
Of this most recent season?
Of season 10, yeah.
Okay, well, I haven't watched that, so I have no opinion on that.
Correct,
Sorry.
absolutely.
Right. I still have to catch up. I'm a little behind. How far behind am I? We just finished
season 8.
Season
so
8.
You're getting ready to start 9, and 9 will move very fast. It is a much quicker season, and then 10, I also believe, is a much quicker season.
How many episodes per season of these?
Well, 12 for the regular episodes plus your Christmas special, meaning 13. So you have 26 episodes to go.
Well, I feel like that's doable before October, maybe.
Yeah. If we start...
I don't know. I've got a really busy couple of weeks coming up.
Yeah, we've got weddings and things and
yeah,
stuff.
My little sister's getting married.
Crazy.
We have a ton of shows for our band booked, and got a lot of exciting things happening. So I don't know when I'm going to have time to catch up on Doctor Who.
I guess the nice thing is we can always take the laptop to the wedding. And just like bring the hard drive and watch Doctor Who that way.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we'll be busy.
Yeah. We'll be busy, but
we'll be busy celebrating. But
you're right. I mean, when there's off time.
Yeah.
If there's off time. But
I'll figure it out.
So yeah, it's cool to see Doctor Who back on Sundays. Now I showed you guys this just a little bit ago before we got on air, but a former Doctor has returned. What?
Yeah, I will say, watching it. It was like watching the ghost of Doctor Who.
Oh, the
video
Eccleston video?
Yeah, Christopher Eccleston. He was looking like a dapper
ghoulish,
silver
little
fox.
Ghoulish, yeah.
Oh, you think he was ghoulish?
Little,
I was like, oh, he's aging nicely.
Yeah. Oh, not in a bad way, just in a...
Yeah.
I couldn't stop staring at the seed that was on his tooth and then on his lip for the entire video.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
It was driving me batshit crazy the entire video. I was like, oh my God.
Well, maybe we should explain what this video is. We haven't actually said what it was.
We're going to explain it, and then we'll go ahead and play it. So Christopher Eccleston did a really beautiful thing, and for a couple Doctor Who fans who are getting married, Blaine and Liam, he kind of came back into the character of Doctor Who, as it were.
For a video shout out.
And gave him a little message, and it's quite beautiful, and we are going to play that for you guys. You will be hearing it now. We'll briefly kind of talk over it a little bit as it's happening. I'll kind of describe. If you guys want to come around, you can. If not, I understand. We've already watched it. But here we go. We're going to go ahead and play this video.
Well, you know, that's just typical, isn't it? Liam. Blaine. Bliam. Blame. Blame's better, actually. Blame.
I have missed him.
You get married. You fall in love. You get married. You're really happy.
Kind of looks like Gordon Ramsay.
And me, the Doctor, who has saved the universe.
Hair. You're not used to
God
seeing
knows
that
how many
much
times.
Hair spiked up.
Doesn't get an invite.
And it's all great.
Doesn't.
I mean, I don't mean in a bad way. I just mean in a Gordon Ramsay way. I don't know.
Thank you. Typical of you apes, isn't it? Really?
Typical of you apes.
My two hearts are beating as one for you both today.
Yeah, it's like a fucking video message from a ghost.
Congratulations on your wedding day.
That's what I mean. I think I get the ghoul reference.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
I won't be there in the blue box, but I will be there in spirit.
He's in a lovely little garden.
Yeah. I mean,
Have
it
a
was
lovely day.
sweet.
It was super
Bye.
nice.
Yeah.
Aw. Yeah, I missed him.
Yeah.
Now I just want to watch Rose.
Well, we can actually... This is kind of cool because we're following up on last episode where we talked a lot about Christopher Eccleston's one season as the Doctor.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he's back in Doctor Who
In the
character
ether.
for the first time, like, ever.
Yeah.
Since he left.
He actually recently did an interview and he opened up about his decision to leave Doctor Who, saying it was kind of tragic to me that I didn't play him for longer. He's a beautiful character and I have a great deal of professional pride, and had I done a second season, there would have been a marked improvement in my performance. He says it's very important on a first series that you make a very informed and intelligent choice, even if it means breaking the budget. About getting the first director who is going to set the tone for the season, for the way the actors relate, that did not happen. Disaster. So he didn't really say why there was a disaster, but some people know there were some miscommunications with the production company and Christopher Eccleston as the Doctor. Disagreements on wardrobe, things like that. He'd had enough. He wanted to do it. I wanted to do it my way. They wanted something else. We were never going to compromise, so it was best to be straight about it and just go.
Damn. Bummer.
And that whole thing, that rift in that bridge burned, kept him from being in the 50th and kept us having like this pure number of Doctors, you know.
God, I was so disappointed. I really wanted to see him in that. I mean, didn't you see his face or something?
Yeah, because they did 2 parts where you see his face. The first time, as there's a video playing, lovely. I'm like, where the fuck am I hearing birds? It's on the video. Oh my god. Okay.
See, pay attention.
Where was I at? Were we talking about Eccleston?
Birds?
No,
birds,
it wasn't
that
birds.
I could think it was the birds.
Oh, you were saying about seeing his face on the 50th.
Yeah.
And you just beautifully segued me, so thank you. We're going to talk about the 50th, and then we'll keep going into that. So, speaking of Christopher Eccleston and the 50th, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you do see him twice. They use refound footage from the first season, and from my next trick, which is in the Bad Wolf episode, when he, and then they also do a shot where he's standing, but they actually had a different actor standing, and they just CGI'd his face in place to look like he was standing there.
Did he have to give them permission to use his likeness, or did they own the
negative?
that part
Because
of the
they own the rights to that form of the Doctor. So as long as he was portrayed as that form of the Doctor,
did he get any kind of royalty from that?
I don't know. I'm not actually sure how that works.
That's tough. That's tough.
But I mean, considering that cameo is with all the other Doctors, and it's only for like 0.2 of a second in the final scene of the episode, and then
okay, well, if you were him, wouldn't you be fucking infuriated if they used your
no? Because
face?
you know what? They asked him first to be in it, and he said no, and that's why we got John Hurt.
Yeah, I did know that.
So he didn't want any part of it, and John Hurt was awesome as the War Doctor, and it was a cool little creating a new form of the Doctor that's not really the Doctor, you know.
Isn't that kind of like asking without asking, though? Like, if you're like, well, we got these versions of the Doctor here, of Christopher Eccleston, so really he's going to be in it whether he likes it or not, but we'll ask him anyway. Like,
courtesy.
Yeah,
well, they asked him as a place of like, I'm sure this is probably how the phone conversation went down.
Like maybe they really wanted him to do it.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm sure they did. Everybody
no, and they're
did.
like, well, then fuck this guy. We'll do it anyway.
Right.
I'm guessing.
It just seems like there's a bit of fuck this guy.
Yeah, fuck this guy. Let's just do it anyway.
When they rang him, I'm guessing that the conversation went something like, hey, we really want you back for the 50th. This is what we have to offer you. It's just like rolling about how you had to deal with the Time War and everything that went south with that. You'll be working with Billie Piper again, so you'll get some Rose interaction, but she won't really be Rose, blah, blah, kind of giving a little loose synopsis of what their play was. And he was probably like, I'm not really interested in returning the role. I've got other stuff coming up. I'm in Hollywood. Things are going down the pike for me, so I can't really do that. And they said, okay, well, since we have you here, just to let you know, there are a couple scenes we do have planned for the Ninth Doctor that's just going to be brief. We're going to use your stuff, and this is how we intend on doing that. Just want to let you know. I'm sure they weren't not forthright with him about it.
I mean, is that just your opinion or your version of what happened that you hope happened, or is that actually happened?
I'm saying the professionalism that I know that the BBC holds for anybody who's played the Doctor. Like, I mean, even how shitty Tom Baker was after leaving Doctor Who, and how nice they still are to him to this day.
So British.
They got shit on by Tom Baker in a lot of ways. He was very, ran away from that role and also couldn't escape that role all in the same token. It kind of brandished his career a little bit.
Do you think that happened to Christopher Eccleston?
Yes and no. I think he was already kind of on the way to being a made actor regardless.
Yeah.
But this was
He's a very talented actor.
Yes.
I really like him.
And
isn't he doing some didn't he just do a movie? Weren't you telling me that he was just in a movie?
We were talking about Thor.
Oh yeah, because he did Thor: The Dark World.
And he didn't want to do that.
He was Malekith.
Or I don't want to do it. Or what was it?
Wasn't
the
that he didn't
makeup
do
condition.
See, this is the difference between how Marvel and I'm guessing BBC works. So Marvel told Christopher Eccleston, look, we want you to be Malekith, the Dark Elf, for our Dark World story. There's all CGI and no makeup involved. And he was like, great, sign me up. And he showed up day one, and they're like, you have 12 and a half hours of makeup.
Nuh-uh. He had so much makeup. It was all prosthetics.
100% prosthetic. I mean, they had his ears
100%
pinned
makeup,
back.
everything, head to toe.
He was so mad.
So that's why he will never return.
And he
as
barely had
Malekith.
like any lines. He just stands there in this makeup, just glaring.
And then when he does,
so terrible.
And when he does speak, he also speaks in the Dark Elf language, so it's all translated. So he's not even speaking like human roles.
He's not even speaking any.
Wow.
Any language.
I mean, that's not the character you want to be in a Marvel movie. You know?
Oh, that movie was bad.
Now check this out. I'm going to tie it all back together.
I don't even remember that character.
Because as
That
we were
movie
talking
was
about,
so bad.
we were talking about the Ninth Doctor, and you were talking about him being in the 50th.
It's time for Brews with Dudes. Juicy.
This looks like a Days on Saison.
Days on Saison. This is our summer seasonal farmhouse ale. Dry hop with mandarina and mosaic hops. So very tropical again. Like notes like citrus, lemon, pineapple, grapefruity. Great for beer mimosas. Like I discovered this last year. A little bit of OJ in there on like 10 a.m. in the morning when you're watching the British Open or something for Sunday tomorrow.
I was gonna hold my tongue on mentioning how I'm immediately against farmhouse ales. I don't know what it is about them. I need to look into it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the malts or the hops. I despise it. Everyone I've had. This is great.
It's got a little unique twist to it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually very good.
No, I read the name and then I saw dry hopped, and then I was like, "Ooh,
Yep.
it's a dry hop Saison." And then as I felt the same with him, when I saw farmhouse ale, I sank a little bit in my seat.
Right. For me, I had a bad experience as well with saisons in the past. Just too funky, like not my style of beer. Like really got turned off. But then I tried a couple more, and we came out with this probably about 3 years ago, and this is definitely my favorite. I'm probably biased a little bit, but yeah, it's a unique twist on the saison. You're not getting as funky; it's more tropical and bright, which I really like.
It's much more palatable than
Right.
most farmhouses
Yeah.
I've had because some of them, I don't think I've ever had one that described itself as a saison.
I feel like a farmhouse ale just tastes dirty to me.
I don't think it has a lot of flavor. Like I always
Yeah.
feel like every time you drink it,
Like,
it almost seems like the batch that didn't taste perfect that they then market as a farmhouse. Like I don't know.
No, that's kind of what I
Right.
mean. Instead of like it being like a clean beer, like not like overly flavorful, it's just a dirty taste to it. That's always how I felt like farmhouse. But this was good.
We just said a bunch of really bad things about farmhouse. And while I want to say that I got a little bit of what I remember as the farmhouse taste, that was way more palatable than every other farmhouse I've had. Like I said, I've never had one that was labeled as a saison. They
Yeah.
just go as farmhouse ale.
This one was also dry hopped too, which helped put more of the hop flavor.
More hop
forward.
flavor in there for sure. Hop forward, but still like a lot of flavor. Like I said, more tropical again.
So what makes it saison? For
So
people that don't know, like
saison's
myself.
basically the same thing as our farmhouse ale.
Uh-huh.
These were originally made, I think it was in Belgium for the farmers. They would just make something crushable in the summertime after the fields.
They do it right in Belgium. They just kill it. I lived there for 2 summers.
Yeah.
See, I love.
like Belgium, but they're able to make really strong beers, really light and
Right.
pretty. They're not dark stouts and stuff. Belgium makes them really pretty and really whoop your ass.
Yeah, they do whip your ass. Like the quads or the triples.
That seems like a lot.
I love them too.
Oh.
Like Belgians is what I got started on. Like I started with the wheats, then the Belgians I really got into.
I started with the browns and the darks.
Okay.
Like I went with like brown ales and stuff.
You're gonna like this one, this next one.
Well,
So uncommonly tweaked. This is one of our amber ales and actually brewed with Peruvian coffee from a local roaster in Saugatuck.
That smell.
And I'm not a coffee drinker at all, but this
like
beer,
what I want to wake up.
is
We're coffee drinkers, and we've been on this coffee beer kick because people are just murdering with it. And this was, as soon as you pour it and you smell it, it just smells all coffee.
You can smell,
and then you
yeah.
drink it, and it's beer. Yeah, and you get the amber kick, and you get the beer, and that smell though.
Yeah, it's unique.
That,
so
that
like
smell
most,
is totally like what I wake up to every
Yes.
morning.
Right.
It's like, oh, I can open my eyes now. I can function.
Another beer you can drink in the morning. Fuck yeah.
I can. I don't know if you. have
I
enough
like this
dedication,
one.
you
So
drink
most
anything in the
coffee
morning.
beers, I feel like they're porters or stouts. They're bigger. This being an amber, a little bit lighter, way more drinkable. Like I
man.
said, you can have. Yes.
It's clean.
It
is a
smells
clean.
and it tastes like the memory of those like old little coffee houses where you walk in and you can immediately smell like the fresh roasted ground beans and everything,
Yep.
and that getting that fresh ground coffee straight
Yeah.
from the shop.
Yeah, you guys
Just-
murdered this one. This for what it is. It's awesome.
I've never been a big fan of ambers. I started working at Taze. They made an amber, and I really liked it. He just entered the Indiana Brewers Cup, and on the notes back, he got that the amber was too hoppy. That was just a side note, and I was like, that's why I fucking liked it in the first
Right.
place. And this being an amber with coffee, I'm like, sometimes you gotta. Maybe amber's not very good. Maybe you gotta add a little extra.
Yeah.
Add some
I mean,
I liked ambers to begin with because they're more of a smooth, just easy
Super
drinking
easy,
beer,
nice and
it wasn't
malty.
really heavy
Right.
on its ABVs, so you could just sit there and just crush them down.
Exactly.
And feel like you're just owning the night.
Except the one at Taze. Taze makes a pretty good one.
yeah. So this is 5.5% as well. So yeah, it's. The coffee comes out pretty nice. But yeah, this could be a morning beer. You know, if there's some morning beers out there, we've got a couple of those. I feel like this could be because there's some caffeine in here. So it gives a little.
I feel like if you like coffee at all, this is going to be your new morning drink. If you
Right.
don't like coffee, this might be your new morning drink.
And I'm not a coffee drinker. Oh God, yeah.
Yep.
This is.
Now we're on the blueberry maple stout. Full disclosure, I think we've all had this one.
Oh, for sure.
But I don't think we've
Many
had it on the
times.
episode, so this
Oh no, we haven't.
Okay.
We've been secretly drinking it in our beer corner here.
Yeah, have you guys
don't think
won
I've
any
even seen it
awards
anywhere
for
else.
this one? Because this one's awesome.
Nothing
Yeah.
recently.
So good.
I know we've put them in quite a few. I'm sure we're gonna hit eventually because how can you not with this beer? Right, exactly.
which is ridiculous.
There should be a morning beer category. I feel like, and we would probably gold medal.
There's no shame in it. There's I don't get it. Like,
I'm there.
yeah.
I day drink. Probably, I'm in the higher percentile of Americans that drink before noon. I drink before 10.
Part of the
what was
job.
that last
It's part of the
one?
job.
Last one?
Yeah.
What was it called again? The strangely tweaked.
Uncommonly tweaked.
Uncommonly
So Uncommon
Tweaked.
Grounds is a local roaster that we get the coffee from, and so
Oh,
uncommonly
so it's
tweaked.
Nice.
Yep. But yeah,
I could drink that one in the shower. Actually,
Right?
I could make that
The
a shower
coffee
beer.
one?
I could just
Yeah.
drink that all day.
Yes, shower beer.
I mean, if
Yeah,
you wake up,
morning shower
yeah,
beer.
you wake up, you get the uncommonly, you get that coffee going, then you got to go for the meal, and you got to
Then
get the
you need some
blueberry. Yep.
breakfast.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have your uncommonly tweaked beer in the shower. In the
yeah,
That
that's how
really
you start a
does.
Saturday. If your Saturday starts like that, good.
We
got to
get on that.
That's a good Sunday starter too.
Yeah, field day
Absolutely.
next year. We're just gonna lay out the whole liquid breakfast in order.
Oh, liquid breakfast. That sounds dangerous.
Cooler opens.
Right? There we go.
Where's
Yeah.
my dessert?
Well, it's actually
Awesome.
next.
That is
It's
next.
next.
So blueberry maple stout is what we're sipping on now.
Yeah.
This literally tastes like blueberry pancakes. Like the label, like screams it. This little lumberjack guy on there eating blueberry pancakes, drinking a beer.
You even
And
get your maple syrup in there too with the blueberry.
You do get the
pancakes. It
maple in
tastes
there.
just like
You get
blueberry,
the blueberry.
pancakes with some syrup on.
Yep. But milk stout, so not overly heavy, very drinkable. I'm a huge milk stout guy, so when I heard we were gonna do this, I'm like, what? And I want it right now. Like, bring it on. We actually made this originally for Canada only. Because, I mean, come on, maple syrup, Canada, they're, like, all about it. But, yeah, my boss is like, that can't go to Canada only. Like, this is going everywhere. So, yeah,
I just tasted some out of my mustache, and it was the most delicious mustache I've had.
So how far do you guys distribute?
So right now we're in 13 different states. We just launched Vegas in March. So that was our newest state, Nevada. We do go all the way down to Florida. We're out in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and then mainly Midwest after that. Nebraska was last year, but yeah, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana. So things are going well. We've got some great beers that pretty much can go anywhere. Like this beer right here. Distributors are like looking for these beers. Like like what? You have a blueberry pancake beer, and you have
for sure.
Like when I go into a bar and I get at first I look for the IPAs and you decide you're like, is that one I'm gonna go for? And you take it down. If you don't want one of those, you've got your domestics and you have your choice of domestics. What I like about every single one of the Saugatuck beers is that none of them are plain. Like every single one has this shtick. What's this?
Right.
It's an amber, but it's a coffee.
Right.
That's a stout, but it also tastes like a blueberry. That's a shandy, but it's like a blueberry lemonade. There's a shtick
exactly.
for every single thing.
For sure.
We go to a lot of breweries, and we always say it's always disappointing when you go into one and it's like, this is our amber. This is, if you know what a pale ale is, this is a pale ale.
Right
and
here.
it's like,
right. You're
you
like,
know, when you go up to
I've
the
had
board,
a million of those.
yeah, it's nice when you go up to the board and you start reading them and you're like, I've never heard of that. That's going to be a part in my mouth. That's going to be a part in my mouth. That's different.
Right.
It's nice to actually see a different selection instead of just kind of the core 6 or 8 beers that everyone kind of does. So we've been lately looking when we go to these breweries, like, give us some weird.
Right.
Give us some weird. Like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Like, yeah, be adventurous, man.
We're just like, you try something. You try something, you go, well, that was cool. What if you did this instead? So we're going to do this instead.
Speaking of next.
What are your core beers? Every single one is weird as fuck.
Yeah.
Right.
If you like Coors Light, you're fuck out of luck. That's what you want.
Go buy a Coors Light.
You like Coors Light? I mean, sorry.
This is for experimenting.
Yeah.
It's not I'm looking for something I can drink all night.
Because
it's
Nick.
an experience. It's
exactly.
I want to try the blueberries. I want to taste the one with blueberry. I want to taste the one that's
Neapolitan. You want a little bit of this? Yeah, something.
For one to stick on. You want to try
exactly.
Yeah, Nick told me about the Neapolitan first before I ever tried it, before we even had it. And it's just, that's one thing that's fun for people that aren't huge beer drinkers or are just stuck into their Coors Light, Miller Lite mode.
Right.
When you start being like, so how do you feel about Neapolitan? Like, who doesn't like a Neapolitan? And it's like, we got that beer.
Yeah.
That's a beer.
They're
yeah,
like,
I mean, it's.
5 times, I bet you'll get all 3 flavors in those 5 drinks.
The expression.
You'll find the vanilla, you'll find the strawberry, you'll find the
Yep.
You just gotta get into it. And it's fun. You find fun doing whatever the fuck you're trying to do. Whatever you love doing, you're gonna find a fun way to do it.
Absolutely.
If you like getting drunk, if you like drinking beer, whatever the hell you like. Saugatuck is definitely one of those.
I've met people that
you can have that experience where it's like, man, I'm about to drink a bunch of shit that I never thought I'd drink. I like pancakes, but I didn't know I like beer.
Right. It's like a candy shop, man, for adults.
That's how it feels looking at your guys' menu. Just like,
yep.
What is going on over here?
Yeah, I love that. I love walking into a brewery and going, I'm going to drink it all.
You're like, wait a minute.
Drink it all.
What?
Yeah, I'm calling an Uber. My day just changed. I was going to stop in here, have 1 or 2, but I feel like I need to try about 8 of those.
But yeah, man, you're 5 hours from home. Still going to take an Uber.
I need it.
But no, I feel like one of the things, too, is with the customer is a lot of people that aren't familiar with craft, they think everything's an IPA. They think
exactly.
that everything's
like, it's going to be
that
bitter. It's going to be a bitter bomb.
Yes.
Yep.
So
it's a stout, it's dark and awful.
Yep. And it's going to be too heavy.
It's super bitter and I don't like it. It's like, you are...
You're missing out. You're missing out on so much.
You always find a new makeup. That's what beer is like. There's always a new beer.
Absolutely.
10 years ago, even 5 years ago, New England style IPAs. What the fuck are you
right.
talking about?
What?
Yep. It's here and it's here in power. And guess what? In 5 years, there's going to be something else.
Absolutely.
Something else
for sure.
And you're going to have to deal with it. So.
That's the beauty of it.
Are we on the final beer?
Yep.
We are. And just save the best for last.
I don't know if we've mentioned it yet, but this is the Neapolitan.
Yeah, have we talked about this one yet?
I don't think I brought this up even one time.
Not at all.
So, yeah, this is the beer that's put us on the map. And the reaction of people for the first time, like, it's always awesome. Like, whoa, my God. Like, I didn't think they're like, literally, it tastes like Neapolitan ice cream.
But you can actually smell the flavors
Right.
in it. Like,
Yep.
If you know what Neapolitan is right away, which is the chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla.
If you get that perfect bite of all three.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it smells like you just opened a fresh carton of
Literally.
Neapolitan ice cream.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the thing I've appreciated a lot more lately is the smell. Actually taking the time to smell it instead of just immediately
Just
diving
right
in.
to the.
In doing those classes, like they're like, grab your beer, lift it right up to your nose, take one big sip. All right, now pull it away, go back in, take 2 quick sips. All right, you got that. Now go in, take 5 really quick sips. All right, now that you've got that, go in, take a really quick. And people take it so far, tasting
Right.
beer.
You're like,
But
whoa.
seriously, you don't have to go that far, but just taking that one moment, like when you can't do it when you've got a bottle.
Exactly.
A glass. You want to
Yep.
sniff it and then try to drink it instead of at the same time. It adds a whole different level.
It does.
And every single one of these beers.
The uncommon, like the coffee.
Yep.
And you might not get a
No.
or it's not the same.
It's like pouring a glass of tap water and
Drinking,
saying it's
Very
got
true.
great flavor.
Smell this before you drink it. I'd much rather sniff.
I'd rather
sniff
drink
the
it
ice
first.
cream before I
The dessert. This is dessert, so this is fitting last beer here. But yeah, all natural strawberry, vanilla bean, and chocolate malt. So that's how we get all 3 flavors. And it, yep,
It's not even actual chocolate. It's just
chocolate malt. So it comes in layers, and like literally, you can taste it in layers.